The blade stopped 1 millimeter from Princess Kale's throat. She didn't flinch. The human holding the weapon stared at her with eyes like winter storms, cold and unreadable. Around them, the treaty hall burned. Smoke choked the air. Bodies of both species littered the marble floor. "You're the one they sent?" Lieutenant Connor Hayes lowered his blade but didn't sheath it. Blood dripped from his armor. "Not his blood. I am Princess Kale of the Vryn Empire." She stood straight despite the chaos. "I come with a proposal to end this war." Connor laughed. It wasn't a pleasant sound. "Your people just slaughtered the entire delegation. You want to talk peace while their blood is still warm? That wasn't sanctioned." Kale's violet eyes met his. Rogue elements. "My father wants this war to end as much as yours does. Doubt that." Connor finally sheathed his blade. "What's the proposal?" "Marriage. Between our species. A union to bind our empires." Connor went very still. "You're joking." "I never joke about survival, Lieutenant." Kale stepped closer. An explosion rocked the building. Neither moved. "Your species has held us to a stalemate for 3 years. Impossible, given our technological advantage. My analysts believe humans possess something we don't. Something that makes you dangerous beyond your numbers. And you want to chain yourself to one of us?" Connor's hand stayed near his weapon. "Why you? Why not some lesser noble?" "Because I'm third in line for the throne. Because I command 5 battle fleets. Because when I make a promise, the Empire honors it." Kale's mandibles clicked once, a sign of sincerity in her culture. "And because I researched you specifically, Connor Hayes, sole survivor of the Proxima Massacre, holder of 7 Valor citations, the human who killed a Vryn war chief in single combat. You've done your homework. Will you consider it?" Connor looked at the burning hall, at the dead diplomats who'd tried the conventional way, at the future stretching ahead, filled with more battles, more death, more planets reduced to ash. "One condition," he said finally. "Name it. When this fails, when your people betray this treaty like they betrayed the last one, I want full operational authority. No politicians, no committees. Just me and whoever I choose." Kale's expression shifted. Something like respect. "You expect betrayal. I plan for it. Then we have an accord." She extended her hand, copying the human gesture. "The wedding will happen in 30 days. Neutral ground. Both emperors attending." Connor took her hand. Bow. Her skin felt like warm glass. 30 days to prepare for a marriage or a war. Often the same thing, Lieutenant. It's just Connor now. "If we're doing this, then call me Kale." She released his hand. "And Connor, thank you for not killing me when you had the chance." "Day's not over yet, Princess." She smiled. It looked strange on her alien features. Almost human. Behind them, rescue teams finally broke through the barricaded doors. Neither the human nor the Vryn looked back. The wedding took place on Station Meridian, a massive orbital platform orbiting a dead world between territories. Connor stood at the altar in formal military dress, feeling every eye in the chamber weighing him. Half the attendees wanted him dead. The other half just wanted to see if he'd survive the ceremony. Kale approached from the far end. Her ceremonial robes shimmered with bioluminescent patterns, traditional Vryn wedding attire that made her look like a walking constellation. She moved with grace that seemed impossible for her 7-foot frame. Connor's earpiece crackled. "Thermal signatures on the upper gallery," whispered Agent Lucas Grant, his head of security. "Could be ceremonial guards. Could be assassins." "Assume assassins," Connor replied without moving his lips. "Always assume assassins." The Vryn Emperor watched from his throne, ancient and calculating. Beside him sat Connor's own president, looking distinctly uncomfortable. Both leaders had committed to this. Both had too much pride to back out now, but neither trusted it would work. The officiant, a neutral species called the Quinn, began the ceremony in 3 languages. Connor barely listened. He'd memorized every exit, every possible line of attack, every person in the room who carried weapons, old habits from Proxima, the massacre that made him what he was. Kale reached the altar. Up close, he saw the tension in her posture. She was scared, too. Good. Fear kept you sharp. Do you, Connor Hayes of Earth, accept this union? The Quinn asked. I do. Do you, Princess Kael of Vryn Prime, accept this union? I do. The Quinn raised all four arms. Then, by the authority granted me by the Galactic Council, I declare. The explosion tore through the eastern wall. Connor's body moved before his mind caught up. He tackled Kael behind the altar as plasma fire scorched the air where they'd stood. His hand found the pistol hidden in his dress uniform. 3 rounds, center mass, dropping the first attacker who burst through the smoke. Vryn rebels! Someone screamed. Human extremists! Someone else shouted. Connor didn't care which. He hauled Kael toward the emergency exit, firing behind them. Lucas appeared from nowhere, covering their retreat with a compact rifle that definitely violated the peace accords. Both sides, Lucas yelled over the chaos. They're coordinating. Of course they were. The ones who wanted war had found common ground. How poetic. Kael grabbed Connor's arm. The Emperors. They're the real targets. Connor saw it immediately. The attack on them was a distraction. The real kill team was moving on the thrones, using the panic as cover. 6 attackers, mixed human and Vryn, converging with military precision. Lucas, get her out! Connor shoved Kael toward his agent. Connor, no! Kael fought against Lucas's grip, but Connor was already moving. He vaulted over the destroyed pews, his pistol barking twice. 2 attackers dropped. The others turned toward him, weapons rising. Connor smiled. This was what he was good at. He slid under their first volley, came up firing. 1 attacker's head snapped back. Connor's hand found a fallen Vryn pulse rifle. He'd studied their weapons for 3 years, killed enough of their soldiers to know every mechanism by heart. The rifle hummed to life in his grip. What happened next took 4 seconds. Connor moved through them like a storm through grass. The pulse rifle took 2. His combat knife took the 3rd. The 4th attacker, a human traitor, got Connor's elbow in his throat, then around through his chest when he fell. The last 2 attackers looked at each other, looked at Connor standing in a circle of bodies, not even breathing hard. They ran. Connor let them go, let them spread the word about what happened when you threatened his objectives. He'd learned on Proxima that fear was a weapon too. The Emperor stared at him, both alive, both unharmed. Connor walked back to Kael, who'd broken free from Lucas and stood frozen at the altar. He took her hand again. The Quinn didn't finish, Connor said calmly. We're not officially married yet. The Quinn, hiding behind the ruined altar, trembled as it stood. I declare you bound in union. May your bond bring peace. Kael looked at Connor with something new in her violet eyes. Not fear, not gratitude, recognition. She'd married a weapon, and now everyone knew it. The honeymoon lasted 6 hours before the distress call came through. Connor sat in their assigned quarters on Station Meridian, cleaning his weapons, while Kael reviewed security footage from the attack. They hadn't touched, hadn't spoken beyond tactical assessments, marriage in name only, and both preferred it that way. 17 attackers total, Kael said, her translator rendering her clicks into flat English. 9 human extremists, 8 Vryn separatists. They've been planning this for months. They'll plan another. Connor reassembled his pistol without looking. Question is when and where, the comm unit screamed to life. This is Outpost 7 on the Vryn border. We're under attack. Repeat, massive ground assault. They're slaughtering everyone. Please, somebody. Static. Connor was already moving. He grabbed his combat gear from the locker, years of muscle memory taking over. Kael stood, blocking his path. That's Vryn territory, she said carefully. Human forces can't respond without violating the treaty. People are dying. The optics matter, Connor. If Earth sends troops, I'm not Earth anymore. I'm your husband. Husband goes where wife's people are in danger. That's not a treaty violation. That's family obligation. Kael's mandibles clicked rapidly. Surprise. You're serious. Get me a ship. Fast one. And anyone crazy enough to volunteer. 20 minutes later, Connor stood in the hangar bay with exactly 3 volunteers. Lucas Grant, who'd follow him into hell. Corporal Maya Stone, a demolitions expert with a death wish. And, surprisingly, Kale herself, wearing Vryn combat armor that made her look like a nightmare given form. "You're not coming," Connor said. "It's my outpost, my people." Kale checked her plasma rifle. "And I want to see what you really are, husband." No time to argue. They boarded a Vryn interceptor, fastest ship in the hangar. Kale piloted while Connor studied tactical readouts. Outpost 7 was a research facility. Minimal military presence. 300 civilians. Now probably 0. ETA 12 minutes, Kale said. Scanners show the attackers are still there. Ground forces, heavy armor. Human design. The extremists from the wedding, Maya said. They're trying to restart the war by framing Earth. Smart. Connor loaded armor-piercing rounds. Attack a Vryn outpost with human weapons. Make it look like Earth broke the treaty first. They killed 300 people for politics, Lucas growled. They killed 300 people because they think humans can't win a real war. Connor stood as the ship began its descent. Time to educate them. The outpost burned. Smoke rose from shattered buildings. Connor counted 6 heavy mechs, human military models, tearing through the facility. Ground troops in unmarked armor executed survivors. Methodical. Professional. They've got air support, Kale warned as enemy fighters screamed toward them. Lose them in the canyons. Get us to the landing pad. Connor moved to the airlock. Maya, you're with me. Lucas, cover our extraction. Connor, that's suicide, Lucas said. 6 mechs and at least 50 ground troops? Only if they kill me. Connor hit the airlock release. Kale, when I give the signal, target the fuel depot. Eastern quadrant. That'll destroy half the outpost. It's already destroyed, I'm just evening the odds. The ship screamed over the battlefield at 30 meters. Connor jumped. He hit the ground rolling, came up firing. 3 extremists died before they knew he was there. Maya landed beside him, already priming charges. They sprinted toward the nearest mech, a 12-foot war machine bristling with weapons. The mech's pilot never saw Connor coming. He scaled the machine's leg, mag-locked a grenade to its sensor array, and dropped as it exploded. The mech staggered, blinded. Maya put a shaped charge on its knee joint. The explosion severed the leg. The mech crashed. 1 down. Maya laughed like a maniac. 5 to go. Plasma fire erupted around them. Connor and Maya split up, forcing the enemy to divide their attention. Connor moved like smoke through the ruins, dropping extremists with precise shots. Each kill brought him closer to the command mech, the one coordinating the attack. A fighter swooped low, cannons blazing. Connor dove behind rubble as the ground exploded. When he looked up, Kale's interceptor had engaged it, both ships locked in a deadly dance across the sky. "Kale, the depot!" Connor shouted into his comm. "Too many civilians in range. There are no civilians left. Do it!" A pause. Then Kale's ship broke from the dogfight and fired. Her plasma torpedo struck the fuel depot dead center. The explosion was beautiful and terrible. It consumed 2 mechs instantly, sent a third tumbling across the compound. Shockwave knocked Connor flat. His ears rang, and his vision swam, but he was already moving. The command mech turned toward him, its pilot finally understanding the threat. Cannon swiveled. Connor ran straight at it. "You're insane!" The pilot's voice crackled over external speakers. "Yeah," Connor said. "I know." He slid under the mech's legs as it fired, the rounds missing by centimeters. His hand found the maintenance hatch. He wrenched it open, climbed inside the machine while it was still moving, and put 3 rounds through the pilot's skull. Connor took the controls. The mech responded to his touch like it was built for him. He'd studied captured Vryn technology, learned human military systems. Now he used both. The remaining mechs didn't stand a chance. Connor tore through them with their own teammates' machine, systematically destroying each one. The ground troops broke and ran. He let them tell everyone what happened here. When the smoke cleared, Connor stood alone in the center of the ruined outpost. Kale's ship landed beside him. Whoa. She emerged, staring at the carnage. Impossible, she whispered. No. Connor dropped from the mech. Just human. The Vryn High Command didn't believe the reports until they saw the footage. Connor stood in the war room of the Imperial flagship, surrounded by Vryn generals who'd spent decades fighting humans. They watched the battle recordings in silence, watched one human destroy 6 mechs and 50 soldiers, watched him move like death itself had taken form. Admiral Torvin, scarred and ancient, finally spoke. This changes strategic assessments. If humans can do this, I can do this, Connor interrupted. Most humans can't. That's why the war was a stalemate. You had numbers and technology. We had specialists. How many specialists? Torvin leaned forward. Classified. Kale stood beside her husband, formal and distant. They'd barely spoken since the battle. She'd seen something at that outpost that disturbed her, not the killing. War was killing, but the efficiency, the cold mathematics of how Connor dismantled an entire strike force. The extremists will try again, Kale said. The attack failed, but the strategy holds. Frame Earth for atrocities. Restart the war. Then we hunt them down. Connor pulled up a holographic map. They're organized. Funded. Someone's supplying human military hardware to traitors on both sides. Arms dealers. Torvin's mandibles clicked with disgust. War profiteers. They lose money if peace holds. Connor's comm buzzed. Lucas's face appeared. Boss, we got a problem. Maya found something in the wreckage. You need to see this. The something was a data core pulled from the command mech. Maya had it cracked open in the ship's tech bay, streams of code flowing across her screens. These extremists weren't just well-funded, Maya said. They were coordinated by military AI. Arcturus-class strategic system. Only 3 exist. One's on Earth, one's destroyed. The third is on the dreadnought Titan's Wrath, Lucas finished, which went missing 6 months ago with its entire crew. Connor felt ice in his veins. The Wrath was a capital ship. Full battle group. 2,000 personnel. All missing, Maya confirmed. Presumed lost in deep space. But according to this data core, the Wrath is very much operational, and it's planning something big. Kale moved closer to the screens. Where? Maya pulled up coordinates. The treaty signing. 3 days from now. Earth's capital. Every major leader from both empires in one location. They're going to glass the entire city, Connor said quietly. Kill both governments. Blame it on a Vryn sneak attack. Restart the war with maximum hatred on both sides, Kale added. Brilliant and monstrous. Torvin's voice came through the comm. We've been listening. The Vryn fleet can intercept the Wrath, destroy it before it reaches Earth. No, Connor's voice cut through the room. You send a Vryn battle fleet toward Earth right before the treaty signing. The human defense grid will interpret it as an invasion. They'll fire first, ask questions never. Then what do you suggest? Connor looked at Kale. How many people can your personal cruiser carry? 15, maybe 20 in combat conditions. Her eyes widened. No, you can't be serious. The Wrath has a crew of 2,000 and full military automation. You want to board it with 20 people? I want to board it with the right 20 people. Connor turned to Lucas. Call in every favor. Every specialist who owes me. Every crazy bastard who fought at Proxima and lived. Connor, even the Proxima survivors can't. They can, if I'm leading them. Connor's voice went cold. Proxima cold. The Wrath's crew are traitors. They murdered their own brothers to steal that ship. They're planning to kill millions. This isn't war anymore. It's extermination. Kale stepped between him and the screens. If you fail, if even one of you is captured, Earth will think Vryn assassinated their heroes. The war starts anyway. Then we don't fail. And if you die? Connor smiled. It wasn't reassuring. Then you'll be a widow after 6 days of marriage, short even by wartime standards. Kale's mandibles clicked rapidly. Frustration. Fear. Something else Connor couldn't read. I'm coming with you. No. Yes. My ship, my crew slots, my decision. And politically it makes sense. Human-Vryn joint operation. Shows the alliance is real. It'll show you're insane. I married you, didn't I? Ship's already left dock. 18 hours later, Connor stood in the cruiser's hangar with his assembled team. 12 humans, 7 Vryn and Kale. Everyone a veteran. Everyone carrying scars from the war. Sergeant Cole Bennett, who'd held a bunker against 100 Vryn for 6 hours. Commander Iris Valdez, who'd flown suicide runs through Vryn blockades. Vryn warrior Sekthar, who'd fought Connor to a draw before the treaty. Each brought skills. Each brought hate they were setting aside for something bigger. The Wrath will be running silent, Connor briefed them. Skeleton crew on watch, most sleeping. We hit them fast and hard. 3 teams. Alpha secures the bridge. Bravo takes engineering. Charlie holds our exit. Questions? Yeah, Cole said. What happens when they realize we're boarding and wake up the whole ship? Then we adapt. Connor locked eyes with each of them. I won't lie. Most of us probably die today. But if we don't stop that ship, millions die tomorrow. Your families, your children, everyone, silence. So we stop it, Iris said finally. Whatever it takes. The others nodded. Even the Vryn, especially Sekthar, who'd lost 3 clutchmates to human fire. Kale's cruiser dropped out of faster-than-light travel right on top of the Wrath. No warning, no hails. They clamped onto the dreadnought's hull like a parasite and burned through. Connor went in first. The corridor beyond was dark. Emergency lighting cast everything red. Connor's thermal scope showed 2 guards 50 meters ahead, relaxed and unsuspecting. They died without firing a shot. Move, Connor whispered. 20 warriors poured into the Wrath like poison into veins. The hunt had begun. The Wrath's corridors ran with blood within minutes. Connor's team moved through the ship like a scalpel through flesh, precise and merciless. Alpha Team hit the bridge access, cutting down confused crew members still half asleep. Bravo Team descended into engineering, where the ship's reactor hummed with enough power to obliterate a continent. Connor led Charlie Team through the central deck, the route most likely to encounter resistance. He wanted that resistance. Wanted them focused on him, while the others completed their objectives. He got his wish. Alarms shrieked. Blast! Door slammed shut. The skeleton crew wasn't skeleton anymore. 2,000 traitors woke up angry. Contact front! Cole opened fire as extremists poured from crew quarters. The corridor became a killing field. Plasma and bullets crossed in deadly streams. Connor pushed forward, his team covering each other with practiced efficiency. Kale fought beside him, her Vryn strength letting her tear through obstacles that would stop humans cold. She ripped a blast door from its moorings and hurled it at advancing extremists. 3 went down screaming. Enjoying yourself? Connor asked, dropping 2 more targets. I'm starting to understand why you humans love war, Shyland. Cowlix replied, her translator flat despite the chaos. We don't love it. We're just good at it. They reached a junction. Left led to life support. Right led to the armory. Straight ahead, the path to the bridge. Connor's comm crackled. Alpha Team pinned down. Iris's voice strained. They've got the bridge sealed. Automated defenses. We can't... Gunfire drowned her words. Bravo Team reporting, came Sekthar's clicking voice. Engineering secured. But they're initiating reactor overload. We have 8 minutes before this ship becomes a star. 8? Connor made the decision in 2 seconds. Cole, take 3 and reinforce Alpha. Kale, you're with me to engineering. Everyone else hold this position. Ha, nobody gets past you. That's a suicide order, one of the Vryn warriors said. Then die well. Connor was already running. The ship shuddered. Something exploded far below. The extremists weren't just defending anymore. They were destroying the Wrath to complete their mission. If the dreadnought detonated near Earth, the blast would still achieve their goal. Connor and Kale sprinted through smoke-filled corridors. Extremists appeared from side passages. Connor didn't slow down, just fired on the move. Kale's plasma rifle carved through them. Bodies piled in their wake. Engineering was chaos. Sektar and his team had barricaded themselves behind consoles while extremists tried to hold the reactor controls. The chamber was massive. 3 stories of catwalks and coolant pipes surrounding the glowing heart of the ship. 6 minutes, Sektar shouted over the firefight. Connor assessed instantly. The extremists held high ground. Overlapping fields of fire. Any frontal assault would fail. So he didn't assault. Connor ran to a coolant pipe, pulled a thermal charge from his belt and attached it. KL, when this blows, get to those controls. You have 30 seconds. What about you? Clearing the high ground. Connor didn't wait for her response. He climbed. The pipe exploded. Superheated coolant sprayed across the catwalks. Extremists scattered, blinded, and burning. Connor was already on the 2nd level, moving through the chaos like a ghost. His knife found throats. His pistol found skulls. An extremist officer spotted him. Big man. Scarred, carrying a rotary cannon that could shred a tank. He turned, weapons spinning up. Connor threw his knife. It buried in the man's throat. The officer stumbled, finger tightening on trigger. The rotary cannon roared, tearing through the catwalks. Metal screamed. The structure collapsed. Connor jumped. He caught a cable, swung across the gap, landed on the 3rd level. 5 extremists between him and the reactor controls. He'd lost his rifle in the fall. Had his pistol with 4 rounds left. His knife was in a dead man's throat. 4 rounds. 5 targets. Connor smiled. He fired twice. 2 headshots. Dropped his pistol. Grabbed a fallen rifle. Used it to block the 3rd extremist's blade. Then reversed it and fired point blank. The 4th extremist got the rifle stock in his face. Connor took his sidearm and shot the 5th through the eye. 4 seconds. 5 dead. Clear! Connor shouted. Kale reached the controls. Her fingers flew over the interface, typing override codes. 4 minutes. I can't stop the overload, but I can vent the reactor. Buy us time. How much time? Enough to evacuate, not enough to save the ship. Connor's comm erupted. Alpha team at the bridge. Iris sounded triumphant and terrified. We cracked it. Connor, you need to see what they're targeting. Connor reached a console, pulled up the tactical display. His blood turned to ice. The wrath wasn't aimed at Earth's capital anymore. It was aimed at Vryn Prime, the Vryn homeworld. 40 billion civilians. They changed the target, Kale whispered, seeing the same data. They're going to make it look like humans attacked our homeworld. The war won't just restart. It'll be total genocide. 3 minutes to detonation, Sektar announced. Connor's mind raced through scenarios. They couldn't stop the reactor, couldn't move the ship far enough in time, couldn't disable the targeting. The extremists had planned too well, built too many redundancies, but they'd made one mistake. They'd let Connor haze onto their ship. Everyone evacuate, Connor ordered. Get to Kale's cruiser. Go now. What about you? Kale asked, though something in her eyes said she already knew. Someone has to pilot the Wrath. Steer it away from Vryn Prime. Deep space detonation, no casualties. The reactor will explode before you can. I know. Connor met her eyes. Get your people out, Princess. That's an order from your husband. Kale's mandibles locked, a Vryn expression Connor had learned. Rage and grief combined. We find another way. There is no other way. 2 minutes 30 seconds. Then I stay with you. Kaol, I am Princess of the Vryn Empire. Her voice carried absolute authority. I do not abandon my warriors. I do not abandon my husband. If you die, I die. Connor wanted to argue, wanted to force her onto the cruiser, but he saw the truth in her alien eyes. She meant every word, and there was no time. Then let's save 40 billion people together. They ran for the bridge. The bridge was a graveyard. Alpha Team had paid in blood for every meter. Iris sat against a console, field medic wrapping her shoulder. Cole dragged bodies out of the command chairs. The tactical display showed Vryn Prime growing larger. A beautiful blue-green world that would be ash in 90 seconds. Connor slid into the pilot seat. His hands found the controls. The Wrath responded sluggishly. Damaged systems fighting him. 90 seconds, Kale said, taking navigation. We need a 3.7-degree course change minimum to miss the planet. Maneuvering thrusters are shot. Connor pulled up damage reports. Everything was red. Main engines only. They'll take 20 seconds to come online. We don't have 20 seconds. Then we make them faster. Connor rerouted power from life support, from weapons, from everything non-essential. The engine indicators climbed, paid 15 seconds. 10. 60 seconds to detonation. Kale's voice stayed steady. We're not going to make it, Connor. I didn't survive Proxima to die on someone else's ship. Connor fired the engines. The Wrath groaned, its wounded frame protesting. They turned, degree by degree. Vryn Prime slid across the view screen. 40 seconds. The planet's edge filled their view, atmospheric envelope glowing. Cities visible as light clusters. 40 billion people who had no idea death hung overhead. 20 seconds. We're going to clip the atmosphere. Then we clip it. Connor pushed the engines past redline. Metal screamed. The Wrath shuddered like a dying animal. The planet's edge rushed toward them. They missed by 800 kilometers. Clear, Kale shouted. We're clear of the planet. 10 seconds to detonation. Connor looked at Kale. She looked back. No words needed. They'd done it. Saved billions. That had to count for something. Escape pods? Connor said suddenly. What? This is a dreadnought? Armored escape pods. If we launch now. 5 seconds! Connor slammed the eject button. The command deck exploded outward. The entire bridge section designed to separate in emergencies. Rockets fired. They shot away from the Wrath at maximum acceleration. The dreadnought detonated behind them. The blast wave hit like the fist of an angry god. The escape pod tumbled, its shields screaming. Connor held onto the chair. Kale held onto him. The universe became white fire and thunder. Then silence. Connor opened his eyes. Somehow, still alive. The pod's emergency lights cast everything in dim red. Kale stirred beside him, injured but breathing. Through the viewport, debris from the Wrath scattered across the stars. We did it, Kale said, mandibles clicking weakly. 40 billion people live because of us. Because of everyone. Connor activated the distress beacon. Your people, mine, working together. Is this what marriage is? Nearly dying repeatedly? For us, probably. Rescue ships arrived within the hour. Vryn cruisers and human destroyers both racing to reach them. Both worried, both relieved when they saw the pod intact. The treaty signing happened 3 days later as scheduled. But now both emperors stood before crowds that knew the truth. Knew that extremists had tried to restart the war. Knew that humans and Vryn together had stopped them. Connor and Kale attended in dress uniform. Medals freshly awarded. Heroes of 2 empires. The crowd roared when they entered. I never wanted to be a symbol, Connor muttered. Too late. We're the story now. The human and the Vryn who chose peace over war. Chose survival over suicide, you mean. Same thing sometimes. The ceremony concluded with both emperors signing the permanent peace accord. No more war. No more slaughter. The extremists had failed. The profiteers had lost. Peace. Fragile and uncertain had won. Afterward, Connor and Kale stood on the observation deck, watching both fleets depart. Human ships alongside Vryn vessels. Yesterday's enemies, today's allies. What do we do now? Kale asked. The war's over. We served our purpose. We figure out how to actually be married. Connor looked at his alien wife. Not for politics, not for peace, just because. That's terrifying. More terrifying than boarding a dreadnought about to explode? Much more. But Kale's mandibles clicked. Amusement, though perhaps less deadly. Give it time. They stood together, human and Vryn, watching the stars. 2 species learning that maybe, just maybe, the universe was big enough, and if anyone tried to prove otherwise, they'd have to go through Connor Hayes first. Behind them, Lucas approached. Sir, we've got another situation. Pirates attacking a colony. They're requesting No, Kale said firmly. Absolutely not, Connor agreed. We're on our honeymoon, they said in unison. Lucas grinned. Right. I'll tell them to handle it themselves. He left. Connor and Kale looked at each other. Lasted 5 seconds before both reached for their weapons. Quick response? Connor suggested. Very quick, Kale agreed. They headed for the hangar together, already planning the assault. Some things never changed.